Stop! There's barking down there! The shout cut through the roar of machinery. At a construction site in Texas, workers gathered around a deep pit filled with thick, cold mud. And there in the center was a mother dog, covered in mud, struggling to keep her head above the surface. On her back, tiny newborn puppies, eyes still closed, clung desperately to her soaked fur. No one knew how they got there. No one dared to step in. "The water's oily. You'll sink if you go down there," someone yelled. But the mother dog's soft whimpers echoed through the site, and her eyes, filled with pain and pleading, silenced everyone. Stay till the end, because what one builder did next left the entire crew in tears. His name was Jack Turner, a 5-year-old construction worker from a small town in Texas. Tall, tanned, and quiet. The kind of man who spoke little, but worked hard. People on site called him Silent Jack. He wasn't rich, but he had a soft spot for stray dogs. And that morning, while everyone else heard the machines, he was the only one who heard the cry beneath them. Rain from the previous night had turned the site into a sea of mud. A bulldozer had left behind a deep pit half filled with water and grease. When Jack leaned closer, his heart sank. A golden mother dog was trying to lift her newborn's higher tiny bodies, no bigger than his hand, trembling, gasping for air. Her fur was soaked, her breathing shallow. Jack whispered, "Oh Lord, she just gave birth." The site supervisor rushed over and barked, "Jack, don't be stupid, that pit's toxic. You'll get stuck." Another worker shrugged, "They're just strays, man. Not worth it." Jack froze. The mud was thick, the pit deep, and the stench of oil hung heavy in the air. If he slipped, no one could pull him out. But that sound, those weak whimpers, wouldn't leave his mind. He looked around. No one moved. And then he saw it to the mother dog's eyes, locking onto his. Not wild, not afraid, just begging. As Jack knelt by the edge, he noticed a torn collar around her neck. Barely visible letters read, "Luna." His eyes widened. A few days ago, he had seen a missing dog poster on a lamppost, drawn by a little girl from the neighborhood. The name on it was also Luna. Jack muttered, "It's you." And at that very moment, Luna lifted her head and looked straight at him as if she understood. Jack didn't think twice. He took off his work jacket, wrapped a safety rope around his waist, and jumped into the pit. The freezing mud pulled him down to his knees. He pushed through it, one step at a time, lifting the puppies one by one into a plastic tub lowered by his co-workers. Luna whined softly, licking each one as they were lifted away. Finally, Jack cradled her in his arms, whispering, "It's over, girl. You're safe now." When he climbed out, both of them were covered in mud, but alive. Silence swept the site. Even the loudest workers stopped what they were doing. A young man handed Jack a towel, his hands shaking. "I've never seen anyone do that before," he murmured. They rushed Luna and her puppies to a small-town vet nearby. The doctor shook her head in disbelief. Another 10 minutes, and none of them would have survived. By evening, everyone in town had heard about the quiet builder who jumped into a pit to save a family of dogs. The next morning, Jack returned to check on them. As he stood by the kennel, he heard a small voice behind him. "Sir, did you save my Luna?" It was Emma, the little girl from the missing poster, holding a crumpled piece of paper. When Luna heard her name, she struggled to her feet and limped toward the girl, tail wagging weakly. The puppies followed, wobbling and squeaking. Emma fell to her knees, hugging Luna tightly, tears streaming down her face. "I thought she was gone forever," she whispered. From that day on, Jack often visited Emma's house. She drew him a picture, a man in a yellow hard hat pulling a dog out of the mud, and wrote underneath, "Mr. Jack saved Luna's family." He framed that drawing and hung it in the construction site break room, right beside his muddy helmet. The workers who once laughed at strays started leaving out bowls of food and water for the neighborhood dogs. Sometimes, One act of kindness starts a chain that never stops. Weeks later, as the new building stood tall and clean, Jack watched Luna and her pups playing in the sunlight near the fence. For a moment, he smiled that quiet, humble smile of a man who'd done something right. Because even in a place of dirt, noise, and steel, humanity can bloom like a small, unexpected flower. But if you think this story is the most heartwarming one yet, then you haven't heard the little dog who carried a kitten across the flood. And what happened next made an entire town cry. Don't miss it. It's a story that proves kindness still exists everywhere.